Okay, thank you so much. And all right. So first of all, Bismillah ar-Rahman ar-Rahim. Good evening, everyone. My name is Dr. Hasnain Ahmed Khan, and I will be, sharing a few things about the MRCP exam with our participants. So far, we have 7 participants so far, including our, support staff, including Miss Natalia and the med exam host icon, which is apparently somebody is mentioning. So first of all, I would like to thank them as well to ensure this, to make sure that this whole program goes smoothly. So a big shout out to Miss Natalia and her team. And so far, among the participants that we have, I would like them to introduce themselves. If they want to join via audio, that would be really nice. And just let me know from which part of the world you are. If you're from India or Pakistan, somewhere else, just kindly introduce yourself so that I can perhaps understand the origins of each and every one participant that we have in this webinar. So please feel free to introduce yourselves. Anyone? Nope. Or nobody would like to introduce themselves? Still? I feel like we have a very shy audience today. Still no one. Okay, that is awkward. Awkward silence. Still, so okay, so let me just quickly, I think, point out the names that we have in our participants. So we have, the first name I can see is Mr. Ashwin Mohandas. Mr. Ashwin Mohandas, could you please introduce yourself to us? Mr. Ashwin Mohandas. Okay, Mr. Ashwin Mohandas is not responding at the moment. Okay, let me see if there are other people that. Oh, the number of participants has increased. So we have Mr. Irfan Pathan here as well. Mr. Irfan Pathan, I wonder if you're the same Irfan Pathan, the left arm swing bowler.
Hello.
Hello.
Yeah, how are you?
I'm good. How about you?
Yeah, I'm good too, man.
Okay.
So my name is Irfan. I did MBBS from Philippines.
Okay.
But I'm from India.
Okay.
So I just passed FMG exam, so I'm just doing my internship again in India.
I see.
Yeah.
Okay.
So I was planning for giving MRCP-1. So I was, my doubt was that can I MBBS give the MRCP, or should they think about giving MRCP, or they should give the pleb? So that was about.
Yeah. So we'll definitely come up to that. Obviously, they are basically the two of them. They are means to an end, kind of. They basically give you the luxury or the opportunity to work in the UK. So we're definitely going to discuss the pros and cons of these exams and what they mean and what they stand for. So Mr. Irfan Pathan, really nice of you to join us. I hope you will gain a lot from this discussion today. And thank you so much for introducing yourself. So next on, I would like Miss Fariha to give a brief introduction, if she can listen to me. Miss Fariha. All right. How about Mr. Kashif? Mr. Kashif, can you hear me?
Hello.
Hello, Dr. Kashif.
Hello.
Hello, Dr. Kashif. There is a lot of background noise, in this call.
Sorry, I'm
Uh,
traveling.
Dr. Kashif, I can hear you. I can hear you, but there is a lot of background noise when you when you unmute yourself. So could you please address that? Yeah. I mean, you can type your introduction. I think if you're having a problem, it's okay. All right. Uh, Miss Ikra, would you like to introduce yourself briefly? Just briefly. Miss Ikra. How about Miss Maruf? Okay. So, Mr. Kashif is traveling. Okay, it's all right. It's all right, Dr. Kashif. Uh, Abul Jassim, Dr. Abul Jassim, am I pronouncing your name right? Can you hear me, Mr. Dr. Abul Jassim? All right. So, hmm. So I think anyway, I think I should continue. I feel like people are either I hope they're just listening is fine. No worries. I would on honestly, I would like to interact with the folks that I'm dealing with. It really helps make a connection, build a rapport, and really helps in delivering that message. Because first and foremost, if you want to deliver a message, you need to make a connection first. So introduction is just part of that. But just let me begin. I would like to give everyone a warm welcome. I can see Mr. or Miss Babi Hari, Dr. Izzatullah Kakar, Dr. Fariha, Dr. Irfan Pathan, Dr. Kashif, uh, Dr. Ashwin, Dr. Karthik, Dr. Maro, Dr. Abul Jassim. I would like to, again, greetings, good evening, because in Lahore it's about 5 p.m. 5 p.m. We are in the twilight zone at the moment. So okay, so I would like to introduce myself again. My name is Dr. Hassan Ahmed Khan. I'm a graduate of Lahore. I did my graduation in 2019. Since then, I've been involved in the teaching department as well. I've been working as a general practitioner in medicine as well. So far, I've completed, qualified for the MRCP Part 1 and Part 2 exams. I have also cleared my PLAB exam as well, and I'm waiting my GMC registration. So, if any one of you out there who would like to know about these particular pathways, both lab or MRCP pathways, you can feel free to you can contact us through MedExam, and we will be more than happy to share our experiences and guide you through in your journey to these exams. So let's come back to our webinar. Basically, today's webinar is about the MRCP-1 exam. What is the exam? What's the purpose of the exam? What is the worth of the exam? What is the mindset that is necessarily required for the exam? And I'll try to answer all of your questions regarding the exams, any query that you have the exams, plus the pathways that you might be looking for in order to pursue your medical career. So I'll be more than happy to help, inshallah. So let's quickly discuss talking points for today. So today we are going to be, I'm going to be briefly describing you about the exam. What is the criteria of the exam, the eligibility for the exam, and what are the documents that you need to, send to the Royal College of Physicians in order to get yourself approved for the exam. When is a good time to take the exam? How to plan for the exam, how to manage your preparation with your routine. Because one thing we know, it's a postgraduate exam. It's not something that we can do like can do in steps. Most of the students, they tend to attempt the steps exams during their undergraduate years. However, you cannot attempt MRCP exam during your undergraduate years. So and I think maximum of the individuals are in the workforce by that time. Most of them are either in their non-training posts or training posts. So, studying with a hectic routine sometimes becomes challenging. So, we're going to address that challenge as well, inshallah, moving forward in this webinar. And when do you know that you're ready for the exam, which is a very important question for every individual. What is the time, what is the exact moment when you realize that, okay, now I'm ready, I can take the exam without any problem. And lastly, how can we at MedExam help you guys in your preparation, the materials that you need to, get ready for the exam. And inshallah, I will discuss that, at length, that particular point as well. So if you have any questions, can you, Ms. Natalia, am I audible? I think Mr. Abul Jasim is having a problem with.
Yes, Dr. Hassan, you're audible.
Okay, so what's wrong? Mr. Abul Jasim, I believe I'm audible, but I think there's something wrong at your end, Mr. Abul Jasim. Okay. Mr. Abul Jasim does not seem to be very happy at the moment. Anyway, so to all the audience who are listening and who can hear me, if you have any questions already in your mind, I would like you guys to write them down for a while. Let me get through my presentations, and I'm hopeful that as we go along this presentation, most of your questions will be answered. But at the same time, if there is anything that I might not be able to discuss, we can definitely discuss it afterwards. So don't worry about it. So let's discuss the exam itself. So as I mentioned earlier, it is a postgraduate exam. It is something that you are only able and qualified to give once 12 months have passed, since your graduation, since the time, when you basically got your postgraduate results. I know that, in Pakistan, perhaps in India as well, the degrees, they come a little bit late. But as soon as the 12-month clock has passed, you're basically eligible to enter the examination. And the document that is required for you to give to the Royal College is your primary medical qualification, which is basically your degree. Usually, what they ask is that they want you to get a photocopy of it, get it attested by a notary public. It could be a lawyer, somebody who sits in the smaller courts, along the town, a notary public that can perhaps stamp and sign that copy of your degree. And once you get that attested, you are supposed to share that document, that attested document, in the form an email, and you send them to the Royal College. But they basically ask you after a while when you apply for the application. So this is the kind of exam that happens all year long. Usually there are 4 types that happen every 3 months, every 3 months or so. It happens in Feb, it happens in May, it happens in August, and it happens in November as well. The part 1 exam that I'm talking about. So usually it happens 4 times a year. You can sit in the exam for about 6 times. So after the 5th attempt, usually there's definitely instances when people are unable to clear the exam. So it is generally considered to be a tough exam. The pass percentage of the MRCP Part 1 exam is actually quite low. it's actually 40%, 41%. And why is it really low? It's because it is an exam that tests basic medicine, basic side, the anatomy, physiology, biochemistry, and clinical medical subjects as well, like cardiology, neurology, rheumatology, pharmacology, toxicology, and infectious diseases, and these topics as well. So it covers a very wide range of topics, basically from what you have learned in your undergraduate years, all the way to your final year, and perhaps even. But it's a basic exam. It does ask you about the guidelines. Guidelines. They ask about the guidelines when it comes to diabetes, hypertension. These are the ACS management. The high yield stuff that you're supposed to know. They test your guideline knowledge as well. They test your basics. Like for example, they would ask you about JVP. There are tons of questions that they can ask about, jugular venous pulse. At the same time, they can test your anatomy knowledge as well. What are the nerves that are affected in, when gluteus maximus or minimus muscle get affected. So it's basically they test you on a very wide range of topics. And when it comes to MRCP Part 2 exam, they tend to cut off the basic part. They're more focused on the medical part, the clinical medicine part. They're more focused on the guidelines, like what to do next. So, MRCP1 is definitely tougher than the MRCP2 exam, and rightly so. And one of the reasons that the passing percentage is so low and the failure percentage is so high is because of the fact that people tend to struggle managing their preparation with their work routine, which becomes really a challenge. Because usually, and most of you will definitely agree that the ethos of our medical school usually, it starts with the students. They tend to be very brilliant academically, and what they are used to is the last minute preparations, the all nighters, and that's how the real concept is about preparing for the medical exams. This exam, however, is something else. It's not something that you can say that, oh, when the time comes, I'm going to put an all nighter and then perhaps clear the exam. So it's not the same thing. Why? Because the course is really extensive. I mean, you talk about basically all the subjects that you study in 5 years, and then even more, clinical guidelines as well. So it's not just a simple exam that you can do it in a single night. But what it does require from you is a good amount of consistency that you need in your preparation over the course of say 4 to 6 months. That can really put you on track and help you in getting the right amount of knowledge in. Because the exam itself, it simply does not just test your knowledge. Because let me tell you, it's 100 questions, and the 100 question in paper A and paper B. There are two papers actually. Each paper is 100 marks. 100 marks, 100 MCQ paper, and you have 3 hours. So basically, if you cut it down, all right, Mr. FK, is the sound is clear? Hello? Am I clear now? Sometimes. Right now? Is it clear now? All right. So I'll just keep it here. I'll just keep it. So what I was actually saying that we have two papers. There's a paper A and then there's a paper B. Each paper is 3 hours long. So you have practically 3 minutes for each MCQ. And if you have already seen the content, the vignettes, so there are certain questions that have very long stems. So what you're basically doing is you're reading a decent big question stem, you're processing it, you are, identifying, the points which you are going to form the basis of your decision, and then you are making a decision, and then you are transferring the answer to the answer sheet. So a lot of people that I have talked for the MRCP exams, senior people actually, who have good amount of years of experience under their belt in the field of medicine. Why do they struggle for the exam? Because you know times have changed. Let me tell you that times have changed, preparations have changed. It's not like old school thing from the 60s and 50s when you had to go through a number of books and then form things. The preparation methods have gone really smarter. So if you're still banking yourself up on the old school techniques, you know, bringing up a big Davidson and trying to go through all the notes like we used to do it. So it is definitely you're not getting the right amount of practice. See, you're reading, you're analyzing, but are you getting challenged in that during that preparation? The answer is no. Your mind is not being challenged. So here at MedExam, we are currently working on designing those workshops that are going to help you in shaping up your mind, challenging you mentally, so that when the time comes during the exam, you know that how to process your mind, how to read the question within those 3 minutes, process, pick up the right pointers that you are going to make a decision based on those pointers, transferring the answer, and all you do it in ideally in less than 2 minutes. Why? Because I mean you would like to revise your questions as well. I'm sure there are going to be questions that you're going to get stuck, and you might need a little more time to process them. So we're working on those things in our workshop, and we're going to have those workshops conducted in the first 2 weeks of November, inshallah, from 1st November to 10th November. So if you want to get yourself challenged, if you want to participate, you're more than welcome. You can register yourself for those particular workshops as well. I can guarantee you that they're going to benefit you a lot, inshallah. So coming back to the exam itself. So there are a lot of things. It's just not just knowledge that you're testing. Your mind, how you process it. Let me give you an example. So I mean, I'm sure all of the participants here are more than aware of the boxer Muhammad Ali, right? So Muhammad Ali became a great boxer just by doing those 15, 18 kilometers of running, you know, odd, amazing amount of push-ups, crunches. Do you think were those the factors that made him great? What do you think? Anyone who was willing to participate and share their thoughts on how Muhammad Ali, became a very great boxer. That I want to ask all of you guys. Why do you think Muhammad Ali was, or any boxer for that matter, becomes really good or great? Is just the training part of the conditioning that makes a person great? Conditioning in our analogy, it means getting as much knowledge as we possibly can. What do you think? Anyone who would like to participate? Ms. Maruf, what do you think? Dedication towards your dream. That's a beautiful answer. That's a beautiful answer. I cannot disagree with that answer. But what exactly, I'm basically asking, what exactly in the preparation, what is the point? One point. I mean, definitely. I mean, whatever you're saying, it's beautiful and nobody can disagree. But there is a one important chunk in their training. The trainers would say that, okay, today you're going to run from one city to another city, and you would do that. Now you're going to do, say, 1,000 push-ups. But one of the integral part of any boxer's training or any MMA guy's training is the fact that they would study their opponents. All right. Like for example, since Muhammad Ali was in the heavyweight division, and say he's going to box Joe Frazier. So what they would do is that they would take the measurements of Joe Frazier. Like, for example, if he's 6'3" or 6'4", and he is, say 300 odd pounds or 180 pounds or 90. So they would bring people, boxers of the same physical measurements to their gym, and Muhammad Ali would spar with those boxers, right? So what, with the same characteristics as his opponent, and he would practice with them. Knowing that Joe Frazier or George Foreman, they have the same height, weight, and perhaps fighting style. So that's one of the main things in their practice or their uh, physical camp that helps them to prepare for the eventual opponent. So that is what we are going to do as well. So the idea behind stating this example is that if you're giving an MCQ exam, the best way to deal with the exam is to do the MCQs. Yes, books are great. Davidson is great. You can, right now, if I ask any of you, just, tell me everything about diabetes, I'm sure, most of you will be able to, write huge notes about diabetes. But when it comes to, when I give you a scenario, like, for example, we have a person A, and then this, and then this. Uh, that person has been, on currently on this medication. His EGFR is this. Now what you're going to do? So then you're going to take a walk. All right. If you're in line, if you're in tune with the guidelines, and if you've done a lot of questions, you would, on average, be able to answer that question a lot quicker than somebody who does have the knowledge, but who may not have done MCQs of the same style. He will able to answer that as well. I'm not saying that he might not know the answer, but it's about the timing. If you've done the questions, you know that you can definitely get a question based on that sort. You will be able to answer that quicker, and that is really important for the exam as well. It's not just about answering the question. It's about how you process the information. And once you have done a good amount of MCQs, you will be able to process quicker. Like, there will be time. For example, if you have done X amount of MCQs, let me reassure you, there is going to come a time when you will be halfway through the step and you would know the answer. And I would not encourage the fact that even if you know the answer, you just you skip the rest of the stem. Don't do that. It's not advisable. But you would know what the answer is, and it's going to save you a lot of time. So these are the little things that we're going to discuss, that we're going to need to work on how to better able ourselves, to better prepare ourselves for the exam, because these are really important things that we need to discuss. So this is the exam itself. It's a 2-paper, 3 hour, each paper is 3 hour long and happens, about 4 times a year. So next thing, it's a diploma degree. It's not a consultant degree. You cannot call yourself a consultant if you're just a simple MRCP UK. Although if you're in Pakistan or if you're in India, I'm not exactly sure about the India, but I can say speak for here in Pakistan. Once in the olden times, once anyone has done the MRCP UK exam, they will just go simply right away call themselves a consultant, which is not universally recognized thing. It's just a diploma degree. It's not a consultant degree. What is the value and worth? That is a really important question. So it is something that has a lot of value. Why? Because uh, our systems, especially in Pakistan and India, they are we are very much, if you want to grow as a doctor, you're very much relying on the bigger cities, like Lahore, like Karachi, Peshawar, Pindi, and for India, perhaps Delhi, Mumbai, and the bigger cities, because uh, the systems in our countries are not uniformly distributed. The cities, main cities are, they do fine, they're structurally developed, but anything outside the major cities, it's a huge gap. And plus, considering the fact that we are very highly populated countries, and obviously you need to have a lot of contacts and backings to get yourself in a good system, it becomes really difficult for an individual, following their own path, to get an opportunity to work in a setup that can perhaps provide him or her the same kind of equal opportunity. So what the MRCP exam does, however, holds the value is that it is something that you can do with a non-training post. Like for example, if you're living in Lahore, if you're living in the urban city, metropolitan city, and it's very difficult for you to move to a far off place, say a DHQ, a district health hospital, or somewhere else. But you want to, work on yourself. This exam, gives you the opportunity to grow as an individual, as a physician, despite working, in a less than great place. You can give the exam. You do not necessarily have to hold a training post. You do not necessarily have to have, certain amount of experience or qualification or the references or the backup. Once you have passed that 12-month period, you're basically eligible to give the exam. And plus, it gives you, while preparing for the exam, it helps you to grow knowledge wise in your practice as well. So that is a huge, value of work. MRCP exams, they, once a person has cleared the exam, it gives you the status of a senior registrar. If it basically gives you the equivalence of an FCPS medicine personnel. They basically, a lot of institutions that recognize MRCP as a senior registrar, diploma degree, and you can build on that as well. So once you have cleared the exam, your value just shoots up, and you can perhaps build yourself up, and further, you can do an additional FCPS degree. And plus, even if I talk about the Pakistan system, so once you have cleared your MRCP exam, you can, FCPS Part 1 gets exempted, and you can do 2 years of further training and sit in the FCPS exam as well. So it does have a lot of benefit. Plus, obviously, when you are an MRCP qualified person, your chances of getting into a better, say, government system and other system is a lot better than if somebody who hasn't done these exams. Furthermore, furthermore, for us, especially for the people of subcontinent, uh, the Gulf region is the big haven. It's a big, step up for us. Once you're MRCP qualified, uh, the DHA exams, the hard exams, the MHS exams, they get exempted, and you can directly apply for their license, and you can start working in the Gulf region as well, and they pay you good money. The money is really good. And also, I mean, once you're done the MRCP UK, the UK pathway opens up. You just need IELTS or OIT, and then you can get your GMC registration, and you can start working. But there's a downside. The downside is that once you're MRCP qualified and you do not have the necessary experience of junior of kind of a structural experience, so they basically put you in a registrar position. And NHS right now, the situation there is a bit tough. They're really understaffed. People are leaving NHS because they're low pays. There are not many benefits, and people are getting really frustrated at the moment. Plus, the social security perspective of the NHS from the government, it seems really bleak at the moment. So, but I think my perspective is slightly different. I think that their crisis is our opportunity, because people are leaving. Doctors here, so many doctors, they're unemployed. They have this perfect opportunity to just clear the PLAB exams, clear the MRCP exams, and they can go there and benefit from their system and try their best, and just improve yourself. I see an opportunity. That's how I see it. So and so these are the things. These are the pathways that kind of open up with the exam. So again, I mentioned the papers, two papers, A and B, 200 MCQs each. The topics tested, in the part one exam, we have the basic sciences, we have the anatomy, physio, biochem, genetics, pharmacology, therapeutics, cellular, molecular, brain biology, stats, epidemiology, evidence-based medicine. The medicine subjects include cardiology, hemonc, dermatology, endocrinology, infectious diseases, neurology, immunology, microbiology, neurology, nephrology, psychiatry, pulmonology, rheumatology, and gastroenterology. So the medicine subjects basically. So this is the number of MCQs that are subjected from each subject that I've just mentioned. So we have dairy medicine that has a total of 8 questions, 10 from hematology, 14 from infectious diseases, 14 MCQs from neurology, 5 MCQs from oncology. Cardiology has Dr. Jawad has raised his hand. Yes, Dr. Jawad. You can type your question, Dr. Jawad, and I'll answer it. Dr. Jawad, can you hear me? Can you hear me now, Dr. Jawad? All right. So, Dr. Jawad, currently I'm basically explaining the number of MCQs that are subjected to each topic. So that is what I'm discussing at the moment. We have 14 MCQs from cardiology, 15 MCQs from clinical pharmacology and therapeutics, 25 MCQs from clinical sciences. So clinical sciences are basically anatomy, biochemistry, physiology, pharmacology, toxicology, these subjects. So they have the largest, which is 25 MCQs. Then we have 8 questions from dermatology, 14 from gastro and hepatology and endocrine, diabetes and metabolic medicine each. We have medical ophthalmology, 4 questions, palliative medicine and end of life care, 4 questions, psychiatry, 9, and 14 MCQs from renal, respiratory, and rheumatology each. So this makes up about 200 MCQs, 100 in each paper, paper A and paper B. All right. So the next thing that comes to mind is when to take the exam, which is a huge question. Obviously, so there are certain things that you need to consider when to decide, okay, right now, do I have to take the exam right now? One thing is that you need to be very aware of your routine. You need to be aware of your limitations, your strengths, your weaknesses. 14 questions, Dr. Isabella. 14 questions. Okay, so there are some people, you need to understand this. There are people, most of the people that I have come across so far, they are very much comfortable studying with the help of books. They get books, past medicine books, Davidson books. But I find those people, struggle the most, who have, relied more about their preparations on the books and less on the MCQs. I remember, there was a colleague of mine who was, senior to me, quite senior to me. I think he was in the 4th year of his residency, and generally considered very knowledgeable, but really struggled in the exam. Why? And I just asked him the question, why do you think you struggled? How much MCQs did you do? And he didn't do much MCQs. And when you're not, doing a lot of MCQs, what happens is your processing time is not challenged, and you've never really worked on how to process the information and come to the point and make that decision. Because these are the very important aspects of your preparation. Processing the information, separating out what's necessary and what's not, and make the decision on the base of what's necessary. So, and how can you achieve that? You need to do MCQs. So, and how can you manage your routine, which is very important. Most of the people, they tend to, in Pakistan, I'm sure in India as well. MRCP exams are considered as, senior level exams. So doctors tend to sit in these exams when they are in first or second year of training or residency. So yeah. So how to plan for the exam? So suitable diet. What I mean by suitable diet? It's something that we normally eat. No, diet is basically the exam period. You know, so the exam is conducted 4 times in a year. There are 4 diets. All right. So it is very important for each individual to analyze when can the individual give the exam. You know, are you somebody who can prepare for the exam in like 4 months time, 6 months time, or perhaps somebody like me who needs a little bit more time and take 8 months or 9 months? So knowing your strengths and weaknesses becomes really important. Like first you need to understand the syllabi, all the contents of the exam. Once you have encapsulated your mind around the content of the exam, then you need to understand for yourself whether can you prepare for the exam in like 4 months, 6 months, 8 months. And according to that, you need to decide which diet is going to be perfect. You can simply go to the MRCP UK website and they have all the information there. They have dates about each diet and the application period during which you're supposed to apply for the diet. So please be absolutely mindful of how much time do you need to prepare for the exam. We're basically we are doing something in the MedExam UK, sorry, MedExam, experts, and that is we are offering consultations. Like if you want to discuss your strengths, your weaknesses with me, with our experts. You can, sign for a consultation, and I can definitely get in touch with you. Our consultation is going to be for an hour or so, and in that consultation, I will be able to analyze your strengths, your weaknesses. Give you a personalized preparation plan, and perhaps engagement if you need any during that consultation. So you can definitely ask Ms. Natalia about those, and we can definitely have those consultations arranged for you. Just 2 minutes, please. It's prayer time here, so just I'll stop for a moment and then I'll continue after the azan. All right, I'm back. So, all right, kindly give a slide whether who will better achieve part one training versus non-training assignments. Yes, it differs from person to person. Apologize, lots of question. Word go around. Don't worry, Dr. Jawad. Inshallah, I'll try my best to address all your queries. So, A71. So, kindly also give your opinion regarding which Q bank we should do and which book for the reference. Okay, this is a very important question. Uh, yeah, for sure. So, I'll definitely answer that as well. So, don't worry. So, yeah, so we're discussing. Am I audible? Just a mic test. Yeah. So, reflecting your own approach to an exam, that becomes a really that becomes a really important thing. How you're going to approach the exam. So whether you would like to read first and then do the MCQs, whether you would like to do the MCQs first and read accordingly. So what I tend to suggest is that right now, as uh, the material available online is so refined and it is so good
Atma?
that Dr. Jawad, I believe your mic is on.
So sorry.
So right now, uh, the material that is available to us is so refined that I personally feel that there is absolutely no need to go through any book. Any book, Davidson, Harrison and Kumar, Washington Manual, just whatever it is. I don't think there is absolutely no need for it. If what I want you is to make sure that your preparation is time sensitive and you are using all the resources available to you and you can make use of those resources. I would like to ask a question to all of the participants and kindly in the chat box, please tell me what is the one thing that you use the most throughout the day. Everyone, what do you use just these days? Anyone? What is the one thing that we use a lot? I think all of us. Google. Okay. Phones. Miss Natalia, absolutely right. Miss Priyanka, absolutely. So what I want you is to use the thing that you use the most for your preparation. I don't want you to use any computers. I don't want you guys to use any books even. Forget the books. No, throw them. We live in a 21st century. We need to realize something. It's that we live in an era where it does not necessarily mean where you're getting your information from, because there's so many ways of getting information. All right. So when you roll back the years, I am a fourth generation doctor. My great grandfather was the principal of the King Edward Medical University in Lahore, which is considered to be a very prestigious university. So medicine is something that is running in the family, and my mother, she has already decided the fate of my son, that he's going to be a doctor as well. So back in those days, what was the necessarily means to get an information? It was books, right? There was no phone. There was absolutely, you could either get the knowledge from a teacher or you had books available. All right. So this is a different era, and we need to adapt and we need to improvise and we need to use these things that we use, because otherwise, when was the last time any one of you took a dedicated time out to read a book? Anyone? I'm not exactly sure. Perhaps the last time you used a book was the time when you were traveling in a low-cost airline, in which there was no source of entertainment. That was the only time perhaps you used a book to read anything, right? So, I mean, we have gradually, our habit of reading books have either lost or it has become to a minimum. I'm sure there must be people out there who are very read books religiously. But considering the kind of lifestyle that we live these days, books, they form a very little part of our routine. So we absolutely need to make sure that we have all the necessary tools available, and we need to improvise everything that we have in order to prepare ourselves for the exam. All right. So phone becomes really important, and I'll tell you how you can do it. Time management. You should bring everything to numbers. Everything. If you are able to reduce everything that you do into numbers, numbers are easier to achieve. you know if you can try it out. You can do, you can exercise whatever you can do. Like for example, if you're working out, what is the number that you're trying to hit, the reps that you're trying to hit. If you're running outdoors, I'm sure your target is going to be the 3 kilometers or 2 kilometers. So when you reduce everything to numbers, life becomes really easy. So time management is becomes really important. Like, I want to know how much time you give to your job. How much time do you give to your family? What is the exact window period that you can give to yourself? That becomes really important in terms of preparation. What are your commitments? Are you somebody who's doing two jobs? Like, when I gave the MRCP-1 exam, I was engaged in a lot of things, thankfully. But one thing I did that really helped me was that I, you know, basically reduced everything to small numbers. Like, okay, so I'm giving this job X amount of hours, this job X amount of hours. This is the amount of hours that I'm going to give my preparation on a daily basis. So it becomes really easier. So form everything, basically reduce everything to numbers. Numbers are easier to achieve. All right. Okay. All right. So what is the next thing that we're going to discuss? Yeah. So coming to the phone part, we need to use all the technology we have available. One thing that we use a lot is the phones. So we need to do that. Uh, Phone is convenient. If just a second. So do you think you need, if you look at the books that are available, Davidson, 2 volumes. Do you think you can practically carry Davidson to everywhere you go? No, you can't. All right. So do you think it's convenient to take your laptop everywhere? No. But do you think it's convenient to take your phone? Yes. Phone is there. Phone everywhere we go, to the washrooms, to the parks. Everywhere we go, we have phones with us. All right. So phones become really important. See. So next thing, I'm going to tell you how we're going to use our phones. Finding the right window period. When we have phone, when you're going from place A to place B, you're sitting in an Uber, you're sitting in a Careem, you're scrolling through your Facebook, you're scrolling through your Instagram. You know, let's say the duration of the travel is like 30 minutes. What if I tell you that you can do at least 5 to 6 concepts going from a place A to B on your phone? Instead of scrolling. I know it takes a lot of commitment, but that is something that is doable, right? I'm sure you will agree. So that is the thing. That's how we need to prepare ourselves, for the exam. I want you guys to just use your phone to the best of your abilities, to the best possibility can. And let me tell you, it is going to help you. If it doesn't, change my name or whatever. But it does help. It does help. You need to, I know that initially it might be a little difficult. Some of you, they won't find studying on phone as convenient, or perhaps as comfortable, but it is a really important tool. So when do you know that you are absolutely ready for the exam? When you have done enough. Predicting MCQs. Okay. So what are my basic suggestion to all of you? And that would answer Dr. Jawad's and Mr. A71's question, which was, okay, so this is the right time to answer your questions. Yeah. So, Mr. A71, I don't know exactly what your name is. I apologize for that. So, your question basically that which Q bank you think, Dr. Seerat, my apologies, finally. Dr. Seerat, so I'm going to answer your question. So, which Q bank we should do and which book for the reference? So, right now, we have two sources available, which are absolute best, which I did as well. We have past medicine and we have past test. You will definitely hear a lot of opinions, whether to do past medicine, just past medicine, or whether to do both. I want you to do this thing. It takes the question out of the way whether you have to do past test or whether you have to pass medicine. I want you to do the maximum number of MCQs that you possibly can. The absolute number. All right. You know, Whatever MCQ that you can get. I see you're getting my point. It's about doing MCQs as much as you possibly can. Because the more MCQ that you can do, the easier for you to predict how a certain topic is going to be tested for you in the exam. Let me give you a small example. It's related to the MRCP Part 2 exam that I had in June this year. So let me type it down for you. All right. And I'm not exactly sure that I will be able to, or just let me, I just want you guys to, on top of your head, answer if you possibly can. I'm going to share some information in the chat box and see how any one of you is able to decipher what I'm saying. So we have a 35-year-old female. She has been passing a number of loose stools for a while. The stools, she has lost a stone in weight. Does everyone know what a stone is? It's like 6.35 kgs. So she's lost a stone in weight. It's about 6.35 kgs. And considering female is like 50%, and she has lost it in 1 month, does it become a significant weight loss or no? Can somebody answer that? What is significant weight loss? G, Dr. Seerat. What? Yes, Dr. Seerat, you raised your hand. What is significant weight loss? So basically 10% weight loss, right? So 10%, about 10% of the total body weight in 6 months, it becomes a significant weight loss, and she has lost in a month. She has some. So she's also feeling numbness and tingling. Numbness and tingling along her legs. Her blood results show anemia with raised MC. On examination, her vitals are fine, but she has a Vesicular rash. Not exactly vesicular. The rash around neck and axilla. DX. So, what is the first thing that comes to your mind? Oh, yes, malabsorption. I want the diagnosis. You're right about the malabsorption, Dr. Jawad. Yes, Dr. Seerath, you're right. But diagnosis, I'm asking about the diagnosis. Dr. Jawad says cystic fibrosis. Anyone else? So history is 1 month. Let's say a few months history. It's not a very long history, but it's a few months history. Going on, let's say 4 to 5. Anyone who would like to mention a diagnosis? You're absolutely right. It is definitely. Okay, so Dr. Jawad is thinking about it. Dr. Seerath says celiac. Okay. Anyone else? I just want you guys to think about the diagnosis. Dr. Faria says celiac. Okay. Anyone else? Anyone else who would like to participate? Anyone else? No one? All right. So I see, that is something about the exam that I really want to discuss. And I think it becomes really important. So you're almost there. The presentation of the patient is, obviously, villi, obviously it's malabsorption, the villi are damaged. We're not discussing, Dr. Baz, we're not discussing pathophysiology right now. So, the things are very similar, all right? So you have malabsorption, you have signs of vitamin B12 deficiency, which you do see in the celiac disease. Yes, absolutely. You have, food sensitivities are mentioned as well. That should also make you think about celiac disease. But however, there is one slight information in the step that changes the answer completely. What is that one slight information? There's a rash in celiac disease as well. Yeah. So, and in celiac disease, you do, yeah. So, Dr. Seerath, you're absolutely right about the rash. Do you remember what is the distribution of rash in a celiac disease patient? The dermatitis hepatiformis. Can you answer that? If you think about it, that is going to change your diagnosis. Let me tell you that. Don't Google it. Don't Google it. No Googling. No Googling. Just on top of your minds. Just on top of your minds. No Google. Okay. So let me just remind all of you that the dermatitis hepatiformis, which is a hallmark rash of the celiac disease, it tends to be on the extensor surface of your knees and elbows. All right. Here you can see the information that I have given you. It says that the rash is around her neck and axilla. And what is this distribution of the rashes? Anyone? That changes everything. The distribution of the rash. It is a malabsorption. It is a case of vitamin B12 deficiency. You're absolutely right. Villi are damaged. Yes. but this is pellagra. See, one small information changes everything. You're basically thinking about the celiac disease. But once this is something that you need to be really mindful of. If you've done a lot of MCQs, if you've gone through a lot of MCQ information, you will be able to pick that. The hallmark description of celiac disease rash, which is dermatitis herpetiformis, is on elbows and knees. All right, pellagra is different. One thing I should have, perhaps, added in the information is that she might be experiencing some confusion as well. So this changes everything. Are you getting what I'm trying to say? Is because when you have gone through a lot of number of MCQs, you will be able to go through the information about the same topic in a lot of different ways. And that will prepare you in a much better manner to get yourself ready for a question like this. You're absolutely right. There is malabsorption, there is weight loss, there is vitamin B12 deficiency, there is sensitivity. However, with the description of the rash, everything changes. So once you have done a lot of MCQs, you will be able to, think of these things, and inshallah, you will, the workshops that we are going to offer you, we are going to work on the exact same thing. How you're going to approach a question, what is important, what are the things that are going to influence your decision, what are the decision makers. See, so the decision makers are, the rash, you have weight loss, you have sensitivities, you have everything that are going to point you towards the celiac disease. But you need to be very mindful of, once you know the distribution of the rashes in different diseases, your approach is going to change. All right, so that is what we are going to offer you. That is how we are going to help to shape up your mind in order to make sure that if the Royal College throws a question like this, they cannot bamboozle you, they cannot confuse you. You're always like, haha, nice played, Royal College, I know the answer to this question. I say, everyone okay? Hey, this question, I mean, this was not to lower your morale. This is just a fact about the exam. That is something that I'm going to tell you. So how you're going to tackle a situation like this is we're going to make sure that your preparation is very much focused on the exam. If you are studying a celiac disease topic from a certain book, say Davidson disease, you know that you need to do NTTTG IgM, you need to do this, you need to do endoscopy, blah, blah, blah. But do you think you can tackle a question by just reading the book? No. So my point coming, Dr. Seerat, if you can hear me, this is the exact point. Do as much MCQs as you possibly can. Forget about the books. Whatever the sources you have present there, we have BMJ source, we have past medicine, past test. What I would want is for people who have interacted with me, or people who have asked me about the exam, do as number of MCQs as you possibly can, because that is the best thing. That is the sparring session. You're going to try and get yourself prepared for a boxing match. You need to spar with a boxer who has the same qualities as your opponent. I see. And that's how can you do that? By doing as much MCQs as you possibly can. And let me tell you, it's very possible to do it on phone. Use your devices. See? So this is a very important thing that I wanted to discuss with you guys. Okay, so reading material. So we have a lot of things that are available. We have Khalid al-Maghrabi. We have notes from Dr. Yusuf Abdullah Hamad. But I don't want you to study them. Don't study those notes. Just do maximum number of MCQs and just give them a quick read. No more than a quick read. You do not have to make notes. You don't have to do anything. Just give it a quick read. All right. So what is the right score percentage? People do tend to ask about that. Even if you're just slightly over 60% and you're doing MCQs, you don't have any, base knowledge, you're basically using your latent knowledge, it's fine. Don't worry about the percentage. If there's going to come a time when you're so in tune with the MCQs that it's going to be like this. Yeah. So how can we help you in this situation? And what we're working on right now, these days, especially myself, is I'm designing, with the help of the med exam people, workshops for especially the November diet, where what we're doing is we're conducting 6 workshops, and they're going to be 1 mock exam. What is the purpose of those workshops? Is that if you're signing up for those workshops, I am going to personally engage you. I'm going to give you an MCQ, and you're going to read the MCQ, process it, filter out the relevant information, make a decision, and then we're going to discuss the other points in regards to that topic. So it's going to be a 3-hour workshop, 30 MCQs. If you'd say that if you're going to give 3 MCQs to each MCQ, it becomes 90 minutes. All right. And also we're going to discuss other exam pointers as well. So the idea is to give 5 to 6 minutes each MCQ. And the MCQ is going to be based on, there are going to be 5 other options as well. So we're going to discuss why the rest of the options were not the, were not the answer, and what are the exam pointers in regards to that options. So our target for each workshop is to revise at least 100 to 150 concept exam pointers, so that you can revise maximum as well. Right now the 6 workshops are going to be based on the medical subjects, like cardiology, neurology, infectious diseases, rheumatology, endocrine, and these stuff. So, but the benefit of these workshops, inshallah, what my effort is to help you shape up your mind. All right. Like just one example that I gave you, that you're going to, why most of you decided it was a celiac disease thing, but my point was the distribution of rash was entirely different. It was not dermatitis herpetiformis, it was a pellagra rash. So that's how everything changes. So that is what my goal is going to be for the workshops, to make sure that you are engaged, your mind is processing, and we are increasing your capability. Let me tell you, most of you guys who are the participants, I'm sure some of you are even consultants. Do you think that a guy who is either junior to you guys, or perhaps somebody who might not have the exact same experience as you have, I'm not going to tell you the knowledge, I'm not going to impart you all the concepts, but what my goal is going to be to make sure that you're processing everything in those 3 minutes. You can exclude everything else which is the irrelevant information, and you can get straight to the point immediately in a lesser time, so you have a lot of time for the exam, for the revisions, and inshallah my focus is going to be that you're going to get the exam done. It's about passing the exam, and that we're going to do, inshallah. So workshops are one thing that we're going to offer you, and we have the consultation for individual, each and every one of you. If you would like to have a personalized plan for yourself, you can contact our team, and I can personally have a consultation with you, and I can talk you through all your strengths and your weaknesses and make a personalized plan for you as well. So if you want that, we're more than happy to help. And these are the features of the workshops that we are going to do starting from November. If you're signing up, that is wonderful, and inshallah. So we have 6 live sessions. We have MCQ. Our goal is to make the decision regarding MCQs within 3 minutes. We are also going to discuss the important recalls. It's going to be an interactive session. I'm going to have engaged every single one of you. All right. I'm going to select a person, make sure that that person reads an MCQ, process it, it gives the information, while everyone else write down their answers. And then we're going to discuss that what was the reason that why the right answer was the right answer and why the wrong answer was the wrong. So we have the session recordings available as well with our team, and in the end, inshallah, it's going to be a mock exam for you as well. All right. So we have a lot of social media platform. You can contact our team, through the Facebook, through Instagram, the website as well. It's a wonderful website. They have a wonderful LMS system up there as well. The team is working really hard, and you can directly reach out to the team through WhatsApp as well. All right, it's time for our question and answer session. And yes, I believe Dr. Jawad. Yes, inshallah. That is the plan. Yes. Yes, so fire away, everybody. whatever is on your mind. Is it advisable to do MRCP after MBBS? Dr. Irfan, is basically an individual decision, I would say. If you are pursuing medicine and you told me that you're from India, I'm sure you know the post-graduation situation right there is tough as well. So, I mean, I would definitely suggest an MRCP if you're pursuing medicine. So, I think it will definitely give you an edge, especially early on in your career. Definitely. I'm not exactly sure what your postgraduate bodies have value for the MRCP, but they're definitely consider the MRCP exam. All right. So we have Dr. Jawad who has raised his hand. Dr. Jawad, fire away. And we have Dr. Ramzan as well. So please write your answers, write your questions, doctor. Can I pass it ASAP? Okay, so Dr. Jawad, I'm sure you can. I'm sure you can. I'll say no. I mean, but if you're aware of your situation, of your you basically where you stand as far as your knowledge is, if you want to assess yourself whether you can straight away pass it or not, I would say that if there is any MRCP pass test online present there, so you can simply test yourself, and if your percentage is good enough, if you feel confident enough, I really hope you can pass. But I'm not exactly sure if I can say that you can pass or no. I think all can pass for sure. Okay, so Dr. Abdul Jassim, yeah, are you happy, Dr. Abdul Jassim? I understand that you were a little frustrated, with the fact that there was some problem with the audio. Please ask away, Dr. Abdul Jassim. I hope I'm pronouncing your name right. Yes. Oh, that is, I think that just made my day. The fact that you're satisfied at the moment, that just made my day. Dr. Ramzan, we have right now, you have notes and notes by Dr. Yusuf Abdullah Hamad. You have Khalid al-Maghrabi notes. But again, what I would suggest is use those notes for a quick fire revision, not more than that. Not for concepts, not for anything else, just a quick fire revision. Like what I would do is that I would go through these notes like 100 pages a day, just quickly going through them after doing a good amount of MCQs. Dr. Friha, the question banks are past medicine and past test. My answer for that particular question is that do as much MCQs as you possibly can. Do pass medicine, do pass test. If you are interested in BMJ, you can do that as well. That is what I'm going to suggest. That is what my answer is going to be. Yes. So Dr. Priyanka just asked. Dr. Jawad, I'm available. Or you don't worry. So Dr. Priyanka just asked, can 4 months be enough to get done with this exam if one is getting percentage approximately 60 to 65% while doing questions? Dr. Priya, yes, I think the answer to that question is yes. If you've done enough MCQs and your percentage is going to be between 60 to 65%, you can definitely back yourself up. You can back yourself up. I think it's doable for sure. But I would say that the ideal percentage for me is going to be somewhere between 67 to 73%. If you can achieve that on a regular basis, I think that is when I can absolutely say for sure that inshallah you're going to be in the six. That is what I would say. The 60 to 65% is a very good percent, very decent percent. Okay, Dr. Seerath has just asked a question, and let me just move it. I recently got online subscription of mass medicine. Is it important to go through each and every link given with each questions there? That's a very valid question, Dr. Seerath. So what I would suggest is the important thing is, as far as the information they have given you after each question, is that you need to know if your answer was right, why was it right? If your answer was wrong, why was it wrong? And if the rest of the options are not correct, why? So if you just go through these things, most of the time the simple plain explanation they have given you is good enough, and they have basically described the topic as well. In my opinion, it is good enough. The links that they have provided are mostly guidelines. All right, so they might get you through the nice guidelines, but most of the information is present there after you have done the MCQ. So you do not necessarily have to open each and every link. That I would say. I hope that satisfies your question. Okay, so Dr. Abdul Jassim, how much time it will take to complete full membership? Depends on the individual, Dr. Abdul Jassim. I know certain examples who have completed full membership exams in like 18 months, even less than 18 months. There are people who have done, part one exam, but they struggled in the part two exam, and they took about 3 to 4 years in completing the full membership. So it really depends on the individual. But if you can, clear it straight away, you can pretty sure less than do it in under 2 years. Oh, internet connection is unstable. Let's see. Okay. So Dr. Muhammad Ramzan, let's see. Past medicine papers, past test in the form of book 2022-23 edition. Past medicine based on question bank is book form, as it's not possible for me to do subscription online. Dr. Ramzan, I would like to ask you, why do you think it's possible? It's not possible to get you a subscription online. Because all you need is an internet, which we have right now. I think you can get it, but I would definitely advise you to get it. Get a subscription because it will make your life quite easy. But I mean, it depends on you. My job right now, right here, is to give the best possible advice to you. Yeah. So, okay. Anyone else? Anyone else? Okay. Again, tell me for theory book, please. Again, Dr. Ramzan, I would suggest, see, the syllabus, the content of the exam is something that you have read for the past 5 years in your undergraduate years, 80 to 90%. So I would say that you need necessarily have to go through theory. If you are, everything is available. You do pass medicine, you do pass test at the moment. Everything is available over there. And you can simply just do those two materials on your phone over the course of 4 to 6 months, and I think you will be more than prepared for the exam. That I can say. No, Dr. Priya, no, IELTS OET is not necessary for the MRCP exam. However, if you're going to, after completion of the MRCP, if you're going to apply for the GMC registration, then they are going to ask you for either IELTS or OET, but not for the exam. Is pass medicine, pass test will be enough? Dr. Abdul Jassim, it should be enough. It should be enough, but it depends on how you do it. Again, I would say the same thing. Do as much as MCQ as you possibly can. Even if you can do both these materials, both these contents is going to help you. But it should be enough. Should be. Yes. Anything else? Any other question, ladies and gentlemen? Okay. We have a few more minutes. So, I mean, if there's something that you would like to share, Dr. Ramzan, depends on the individual. If for example, if you can do both the materials available in like 2 months time, I think you should be good to go. It depends on you, how you manage your preparation, how you manage yourself. If you're able to, encapsulate all the material within, 3 months or 4 months, I think you should be good to go. So the course counselors, you can always contact on the WhatsApp and the link that has just been provided to you. And we're here to help you. Again, if you want individual plans consultation, we're definitely we can arrange that for you as well. Just contact our team, and we'll definitely have everything personalized and individualized for you as well, inshallah. Only one revision is enough, or there will be need to repeat for a second. I think I can answer the question by saying that if you have been doing those materials and your percentage has been, above 70 or 75%, and you have done like 6,000, 8,000, 9,000 MCQs, I'm not exactly sure that you need to revise. I think you should be good enough to go. I mean, because here's the thing, the materials that are there on the internet, they tend to revise on them itself as well. So you're basically getting revision stuff all the time. So you don't necessarily have to go through 4,000 MCQs again and again. Once you've done and you have processed and retained the information in a good manner, I think you should be good to go. Okay. As I'm resident of CPS here in Pakistan, according to routine on a daily basis, how much time I have to get past medicine subscription? Dr. Imsan, again, I mentioned one thing earlier in the beginning of this webinar, is to, make a plan for yourself. Like I would say that if, for example, past medicine is like 4,500 MCQs and your diet is like 6 months away, so make a plan. How much MCQs can you do a minimum a day, and then prepare yourself. Like if you can do 25 MCQs, 35 MCQs, slightly up the notch. I know that FCPS training is really tough, and it becomes really difficult for our residents, especially working in the government sector, to spare themselves time to study. It becomes really difficult. So I mean, that is a very subjective question, and I can definitely help you with that, but obviously it's going to take a time. It basically depends on you and how you can manage your preparation. I'd say break everything down to numbers. If you can say do 30, 35 MCQs a day in a 6-month period, make a plan, up the notch, do these little things, be consistent. I think you will be able to, get yourself to a place where you'll be comfortable enough to sit for the exam. I mean, past medicine. 4 to 6 months, I believe. One is 4 months and one is 6 months. Yeah. All right, ladies and gentlemen, I think our time is up. I would like to thank everyone who was here, in the webinar. I would like to thank my team, Ms. Natalia, and who was the other person? Sabah. I think it's Sabah, right? So I would like to thank Sabah, Natalia. Thank you very much. Thank you to all the doctors who were there. I hope that this webinar was, beneficial to you guys. Again, I would like to highly encourage you to, come part of our workshop that is going to be starting in November. The idea is that we're going to, have it shape up for your mind. Yes. So, if you're looking for individual, consultation plans that I can help you with, help you with personally, you can contact the team. We can make arrangements for that as well. In the consultation, we're going to have a proper discussion about your routine, how you manage your day-to-day basis, how you can study, and how I can make a personalized plan for you, so that you can follow over the course of 4 months, 6 months, based on your strengths and weaknesses. Another webinar in a week. Dr. Anzan, you can always, I mean, contact our team, and we can definitely make arrangements for you. A separate consultation. The consultation thing is for that exam same purpose. I'm really overwhelmed that you really, found it useful. and it really puts me in a good place. And definitely, Dr. Seerath, yes. I mean, it depends on you, Dr. Seerath. I mean, how you can manage it, and how much time do you have? No. Okay. So again, I would like to thank you all for this amazing opportunity, and my team especially, because I am not a very tech savvy person and I'm highly dependent on the team. So one more big shout out to Ms. Sabah and Ms. Natalia, and I'll be in touch with them. And again, just contact us and we'll definitely sort out stuff for you, inshallah. So again, thank you to people who are across the border. Again, thank you very much for being a part of it. And I hope to see you guys soon, inshallah. Thank you so much, Dr. Priyanka. I hope all is well across the border. So again, have a good night, sleep well, and we're definitely here to help you guys out. Thank you so much. Take care. Bye-bye.